You're welcome to the Midweek News on AAU TV, your trusted voice of higher education in Africa. We are live in East Legon in Accra, Ghana. My name is Mamiukwa Utuakwa Nyame.
And I am Ajiman Ochredako.
And now in our top stories, Zimbabwean Brethren in Christ Church set up multi-campus university. And also milk packaging capable of influencing flavor, study reveals.
In our discovery story, Saapp promotes access to made-in-Togo products. In our entertainment news, South Africa mislays top rap icon through gang violence. We're glad you made time to join us on the AAU TV Mid-Week News. We'll be back with more news after the short break. Stay with us.
The Brethren in Christ Church in Zimbabwe is setting up a private university that will have several rural campuses in the country's Matabeleland region.
The institution, expected to open in August 2023, will be named the University of Matopo in the vicinity of the world-famous Matopo National Park, and where, in the Matopo Hills, the imperialist mining magnate and politician Cecil John Rose is buried. The Brethren in Christ Church, which was originated in the United States and which sent missionaries to Zimbabwe in 1898, set up their first station in Africa in Matopo, giving rise to the name of the university. In the past, the church had a teachers' training college, which was transferred to the government in 1960. The university will be a multi-campus institution with sites in Matopo, Masbezi and Wanezi, all in the country's Matabeleland, South Province, where missionaries first set up stations. It is expected to start with about 400 students, but growth is envisaged to be able to accommodate a few thousand students in future, said Professor Henry Sipanda, the chairperson of the University of Matopo Trust UMT, who did his secondary school studies at Matopo Mission in the early 1970s. In his interview with the University World News, Professor Sibanda said the church already owns some schools that go up to advanced level after about 15 years of education, starting at early childhood development level, but now wants to provide a pathway to higher education. Sibanda added that staffing the university will not be an issue, as the church has members who are professors teaching in Zimbabwe as well as in South Africa, Canada, and the United Kingdom, among other countries, who have expressed interest in coming back home and lecturing at the institution. According to Sibanda, the niche of the university will be dryland environmental management, since all its missions where it intends to have campuses are situated in semi-arid country. As the institution looks forward to the church's continued financial support, especially in its formative years, its leadership has gone ahead to launch the date for the commission of Matopo University, as well as the UMT Endowment Fund, initially set at $41 million.
Meanwhile, Zimbabwean students intending to pursue a medical degree suffer an acute shortage of enrollment due to the lack of training facilities to admit more students.
Only 1% of students seeking to be enrolled in Zimbabwe's medical schools get placed due to an acute shortage of training facilities, resulting in limited access to such training programs. Getting a place to train as a doctor, nurse, laboratory scientist and pharmacist is highly competitive in the country, forcing some students to study in foreign countries but risking upon their return that their qualifications may be rejected due to quality concerns about foreign providers. This emerged during a workshop organized by Zimbabwe's Ministry of Health and Child Care titled The Health Labor Market Analysis to Inform Health Workforce Strategic Planning and a Sustainable Health Force, held on 7th February. A presentation tabled at the workshop detailed the uphill task to train as a health practitioner in Zimbabwe, according to a government survey. With 397,185 applicants for admission in the 2021 academic year, only 4,134 of the prospective health profession students were offered places. 1% of applicants got places to train. The shortage of places suggests that Zimbabwe may be struggling to pursue Sustainable Development Goal 3, good health and well-being, in particular the training and development of a health workforce to support the population's health. As a result of the low access to medical courses, the workshop heard some Zimbabwe students are opting to study abroad. In her presentation, the Zimbabwe Council of Higher Education Chief Director of Health and Life Sciences, Professor Felicity Gumbo, said some of the qualifications obtained outside Zimbabwe do not match local standards. Hence, students end up stranded or spend up to 2 years writing local examinations to be able to use their degrees. The reason why some foreign qualifications are not recognized in Zimbabwe include that they lack practical training through internships and other work-based learning. She said organizations such as the Medical and Dental Practitioners Council of Zimbabwe have previously declined to register some students from foreign universities due to quality concerns. She also added that students need to research whether foreign qualifications are accepted in Zimbabwe before enrolling at foreign institutions.
Well, there we have it in Zimbabwe, and it's quite unfortunate that assistants now training medical students in the country has become competitive due to the lack of training facilities and access to training programs. Rajaman, give us a rundown of the current predicament of the medical students in the country.
Well, the issue at hand is a distressful one. I can't really talk much about this because I feel that as a continent, as a country, we should be more akin to projecting the values of the SDGs.
Exactly. And
this is where we find the clear travesty of goal number 3 about promoting good health and well-being. Basically, we're training skilled professionals in very essential areas where health and well-being is one essential area to every economy. And we find this very pathetic result that we don't have. There is a lack of facilities to train people who are willing and qualified to become health professionals. And the figures are quite appalling. I must say that if you take a total of 397,000 students, 185 applicants, 1%, which is 4,134, are able to make it into these health institutions. And on the average, it's 89 students striving or competing for a seat in the classroom. This is highly unacceptable. I think that a lot need to be done, and that's why the students are actually on the rampage trying to get their voices heard and howling against government to heck into their call and make something happen.
You know, Ajaman, except that we understand these students are going through a lot of challenges because of the 100% students who apply to these medical institutions, only 1% of them get access to those institutions. So what happened to the 99%? Of course, they have to sought refuge from other countries. They have to pursue their dreams elsewhere. The only problem is when they come back, they are being told their qualifications may be rejected due to quality concerns. What ought to be done?
Another controversial aspect is that when you can't gain this sort of training in your own country, one has the right to education. And so you have the right to resort to any destination and then gain that education, that profession that you want to. So provided you come back and then you give back. But to the Zimbabwean system, according to the Zimbabwean Council for Higher Education Chief Director, Professor Felicity Gumbo, she says that these trained people out of Zimbabwe who come back do not have the requisite skills, and where
I actually have a challenge with that. I wish I had access to statistics of where these students actually pursue their degrees from, because I think it's a bit problematic.
Whether if they pursue in neighboring countries in the continent or even beyond the continent, this is medicine.
Exactly.
And what makes it fall short the standard? You have to assess the accreditation and even the course content.
Yeah.
And these are not mentioned in the report.
Yeah.
We don't see accreditation. We don't see grading system.
Yeah.
What we see is that you actually claim that these students may not have had that internship exposure within the country.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot can be done to review that assertion by the professor, by the chief director for a better.
This actually brings me to one last thing, brain drain.
Yeah.
Because other countries are working so hard to ensure that their graduates stay in the country to actually help the country develop. And here's the case, these students pursue their degrees elsewhere, they come back and they are still being told, you are not enough. Ajman.
Most definitely. We'll have brains draining, and we'll have people who are having the professional certificate but not working.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes in the continent.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate in Zimbabwe. We do hope the situation gets better. Health News is up next.
And our Health News today, a new study in the Journal of Dairy Science published by Elsevier confirms that packaging affects taste, and paperboard cartons do not preserve milk freshness, as well as glass and plastic containers.
To date, the dairy industry has largely focused on packaging milk in light-blocking containers to preserve freshness, but little has been understood about how the packaging itself influences milk flavor. Lead investigator Mary Ann Drake, PhD of the North Carolina State University Department of Food, Bioprocessing and Nutrition Sciences, NCUSA, explained that milk is more susceptible to packaging-related off flavors than many other beverages because of its mild and delicate taste. Besides light oxidation, milk's taste can be impacted by the exchange of the packaging's component into the milk and by the packaging absorbing food flavors and aromas from the surrounding refrigeration environment. To quantify the flavor's impact of packaging, the researchers examined pasteurized whole and skim milk stored in 6 half-pint containers, paperboard cartons, 3 plastic jugs made from different plastics, a plastic bag, and a glass as control. The milk was stored in total darkness to control for light oxidation and kept cold at 4 degrees Celsius. The samples were tested on the day of first processing, then again at 5, 10, and 15 days after. A trained panel examined the sensory properties of each sample, and the research team conducted a volatile compound analysis to understand how the packaging was intermingling with the milk. Finally, the samples underwent a blind consumer taste test on day 10 to see whether tasters could tell any difference between milk stored in the paperboard carton or the plastic jar compared with milk packaged in glass. The results show that the packet type does influence milk flavor, and skim milk is more susceptible to flavor impacts than whole milk. Of the different packaging types, paperboard cartons and the plastic bag preserve milk freshness and the least due to the paperboard's absorption of milk flavor and the transfer of paperboard flavor into the milk. Milk packaged in paperboard cartons, in fact, show distinct off flavors as well as the presence of components from the paperboard. The final results show that while glass remains an ideal container for preserving milk flavor, plastic containers provide additional benefits while also maintaining freshness in the absence of light exposure.
Please stay with us for Discovery News after the break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. Charging up goes a long way. Strengthen your immune system. Your immune system needs all the help it can get. Eat well, stay hydrated. Hands pick up a lot. Avoid touching your face. Your well-being is in your hands. Sanitize regularly. Stay safe. GTP, timeless.
The Togolese Medusa e-commerce app, a search platform made in Togo for selling local products, is making great waves and turning things around, as some local shop owners testify.
Abide Baloki is the promoter of Abi Food, a store specialized in the sale of local products. In the last few months, she has seen her clientele increase and her turnover increase as well. Previously, Abide had difficulties selling her products like most entrepreneurs in Togo. The low interest for made-in-Togo products is partly due to the low accessibility of products in the markets. As a palliative, Doji Tichala, a young Togolese digital entrepreneur, developed Dousa, an application that allows consumers to search for local product sales outlets near their home area. Today, thanks to his platform, more than 1,000 products have already been listed and a total of more than 400 local product sales outlets registered. Dousa also offers customers a framework for interaction with product promoters and information such as prices and availability of items. According to Tichala, his greatest satisfaction is that the app is able to serve vendors very well. At the beginning, there were a lot of reluctance because it was first a new tool for accessibility to local products. Today, there is much more enthusiasm. This digital solution gives hope to entrepreneurs of the Made in Togo and also offers a digital showcase for local products. Pacha Akaba, a user of the app, said that the application has allowed him to have an easy access thanks to the sale points. Currently, there is even a way to find a point of sale that is very close to him.
And next is sport and entertainment, and in here is Jemima to give us the rundown in sports and entertainment. Jemima, what's up?
I'm good. Hope you're fine.
Sure, you got good gift for us?
Yes, I have.
Tell us.
Okay, so today in our sports news, the head coach of Tunisia's Esperance Sportive, Nabil Malo, has claimed that his team is ready to compete in the CAF Champions League.
Tunisia's head coach has affirmed that his team has been preparing for the CAF Champions League since the start of the season. He also indicated that the team is ready to compete without any doubt. He added that since the 25th of July 2022, Marouf, Experience President, Ed, the club board and supporters and the team has been dedicated to one goal, which is the Champions League. Midfielder Zadem also admits he is ready to face the Sudanese side. He hinted that the team has had very good preparations, which did not start yesterday or a week ago. It rather started months ago, and the team is willing to give their 100% best. According to the Experience Sportive de Tunis head coach Nabil Malo, the Almaric players are being studied, and so far, the readiness was evident in the friendlies they have played. Experience Tunis kicks off its Group D journey with a match against Sudan's Almaric this Saturday.
Moving on, South Africa's most recognizable name in hip-hop was gunned down with his friend, celebrity chef Tobelo, popularly known as Tips, outside a restaurant along the Durban's popular 9 Sports, Florida on the 10th of February.
It's reported that AKA was killed in a cold-blooded shooting, a recurring theme of gangster rap culture. The ghastly manner of his death, apparently an orchestrated hit, as captured by CCTV footage, is the first in the South African music industry and has had international reverberations. The 35-year-old AKA was born in Cape Town as Kiernan Jared Forbes and would later also tag himself as Super Mega and Bova. He was based in the country's biggest city, Johannesburg, where he hunkered down atop the hip-hop food chain for more than a decade. From the start, with his 2011 breakout single, Victory Lap, it seemed AKA was born for the role of top dog in a highly competitive and adversarial hip-hop scene. Cape Town is regarded as the birthplace of conscious hip-hop in the country. Johannesburg's scene generally follows more commercial imperatives, often cloning US rap culture. Commercial US hip-hop, generally speaking, is defined by conspicuous self-aggrandizement, photogenic babes, and blinks. It has been marked by fierce rivalries between cities and genres, and by gangs, drugs, misogyny, violence, incarceration, and death. AKA embraced his self-anointed mission as a hip-hop star wholeheartedly. Undoubtedly, the African music landscape is diminished by his untimely death. His chest-thumping rants about his mega status and liberties, even when cringeworthy, are also inimitable. He may not have been the most lyrical rapper or most gifted musician of his generation, but he certainly had the audacity to be a once-in-a-generation pop culture icon. Unquestionably, AKA's single-minded drive to reach the apex of the hip-hop scene rubbed many up the wrong way. he bruised several fragile egos on the slippery slope upwards. Within an aggression-driven scene, he'd have had many daggers drawn against him.
Rest in peace to AKA. That is all for sport and entertainment news. My name is Chimaima Adaladem Duchi. Up next is business news.
On business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced the redesigned notes and new limit on large cash withdrawals to help recover about 85% of the total currency in circulation outside the banking system.
The Central Bank of Nigeria introduced the redesigned notes and new limits on large cash withdrawals to help recover about 85% of the total currency in circulation outside the banking system. This measure is believed to help curb money laundering and make digital payments the norm in Africa's biggest economy that's currently largely driven by cash transactions. The push to replace the old banknotes with new ones have left very limited cash in circulation, causing frustration and anger for many people who spend hours at the bank attempting to withdraw their money, as well as the possibility of theft for business owners. The newly designed denominations of 200, 43 US cents, 500, $1.08, and 1,000 naira, $2.17 being introduced together with limits on heavy withdrawals would drive financial inclusion in Africa's biggest economy and also make it cashless, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, said in November when they were introduced. Nigerian economist Sam Chidoka said the new currency is a lifestyle change for a significant amount of people and is having mostly negative impact on the population. He added that the challenges in the urban areas are even worse in the rural areas as well.
That is it for business news. International news is up next. Stay with us.
On international front, Sudan has sent a 40-member search and rescue team to Turkey to support disaster relief efforts after devastating earthquake that have left thousands dead and several thousands injured, with many in critical condition.
Under the Sudanese Ministry of Interior's police force, the 40-member team, including 7 medical personnel from the Civil Defense Forces, departed from Khartoum International Airport to Gaziantep Airport early Friday morning. The team, carrying 1,000 blankets, 250 tents and food supplies, as well as a large number of search and rescue equipment, will support search and rescue activities under the guidance of the authorities in Turkey. Earlier in the week, Algeria and Tunisia were among the first countries in Africa to send support. More than 22,000 people are now known to have died after Monday's earthquakes in southern Turkey and northern Syria. For Syria, the situation on the ground has been described as absolutely catastrophic by Syria's civil defense group, the White Helmets.
That is it for the news, and stay with us for a quick recap of our headlines.
Now in our top stories, Zimbabwean Brethren Church in Christ set up multi-campus university, and also medical students hold government over low placement.
In our discovery story, Saapp promotes access to made in Togo products. In entertainment, South Africa mislays top rap icon through gang violence.
And I'll thank you very much for sticking with us on the Midweek News on AAU TV. Get interactive with us on our dedicated news hub via tv@aau.org.
And do enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to take in a deep breath and also be safe. Have a nice day.
My name is Mami Okoto Akwanyame.
I am Majimano Chodakos, AAU TV Mid-Week News. Have a safe day. Bye.
Bye.